All right, what's up, everyone? We're going to get through this page by hook or by crook. I'm looking at it. I'm hoping I have the right layout. This is kind of like the diagram layout in Wally Wood's 22 panels that always work. Is it guaranteed to work? I don't know. I think it'll work. So what we see here, this is the escape pod that she just landed in, that the princess has landed in. Luminara. The onboard computer is still talking to her. It's just saying, well, here you are. You successfully escaped. You're on an alien planet now. And it says, just set up the emergency beacon in the shelter. There it is without pencil lines. She goes, I have to do all that? Like, why do I have to do it? Which gives us a little bit of an insight into her character. This is some ground texture here. I'm definitely going to do some things with some duotone here. All right, so she's got like a big silhouette here. And I've only done kind of minimal detail. Let's go ahead and put her in here. Making it a little bit harder. She doesn't have a nose. She's an alien. So she has a flatter face, which, that nose is one of the landmarks of the face that you can use to kind of design the face. Now, from the front, we kind of got it down, but on a profile, it's a bit harder. I can show you something that I can do. This is from Rodgo and the artist. You can take a head like this, put it in a box, and then that gives you an idea that how far back the head should go. And then this, and I know I didn't do my lines exactly right, but the eyes, the brows, should all be in this one box. And then of course the mouth should be in the middle of this box. And I should control my line weight. Let's give it a shot. We'll give it another shot. All right, that looks okay. All right, the hair. No. So she's like she's a Meirdramite, which is kind of like this um diversified sort of insectoid race. There's only a limited number of females that are born every century or so. And they all look different. Like all the different, like the drones and the workers look different. Just like, in bees, you have queen bees, drones and workers and things like that. So in the world of this comic, she's a very unique person. She's the youngest of the 12 damsels, which are the successors to the queen. And the matriarch is dying. We're going to find out soon what happened to her. But one thing that means is the oldest or the most capable of the damsels immediately attempts to kill all the rest, and that's why she's on the run here. I have a feeling I didn't make her tall enough, but I'm gonna tall her up a little bit. Fingertip should reach the mid thigh, which means I think I did her arms a bit wrong. Actually, you know what I really did wrong is the legs. Now, depending on how wrong I've got, which it's possible I did it quite wrong, I'll just shrink her down a little bit. There we go. I think that reads pretty good. This is the print size, which you're seeing right here. So we can work at this size. Hopefully it won't be so detailed that it doesn't make any sense. Oh, she's wearing these boots too. Let's take a look at our reference. Here's the shot of her. Okay, so she's got this sort of calf length boots. There's like this knee pad area and also on the thigh. And then there's this kind of waist thing. And then it's got these kind of belted area. Oh, and guess what? I left it out right here. There's supposed to be a belt. This is why you got to keep checking your reference. I still got to draw her wings. She's got wings. And then here's her belt. I think I've gone a little bit too skinny on her. Put right here. Let's go ahead and then how about over here? One of these. When I shrunk it down, I lost some of the crispness of the line. Notice we just do it in one line, like one stroke. If you do a sort of sketchy stroke like that, it's called petting your lines, and it never looks good. So you must always try and avoid that if you can. Or minimize it, maybe you're not going to be able to get rid of it all at once. Old habits. Hand is too big here. Whoops. Too long. There it is. They have this like little line that goes underneath. And I'd like to do the same for her eyebrow. Okay. The back contour. Not wearing gloves or anything like that. I think that tree is too close. Well, there's a tree like right there. We could put like a tree. Kind of right back there. And let's get in our bubbles. Hang on. So I've been thinking of doing this daily strip. I would still like to do the daily strip. Okay. Can't you do it for me? Can't you simply do it for me? I'm raising it up because I think my bubbles line was tangenting against her antennas there. I don't like how this bottom line looks. Here we go. All right, let's do the flood fill. Boom. Now I got to do it again. I'm looking at my speech bubble here, and I think it's fine where it is. I'm looking for whom, not exactly. But this may help. And I think this is a saner spot for it. Like, I don't want to tangent too many lines. It's okay to overlap, but it's not okay to tangent. Ideally, we'll do neither, but you also need to keep in mind composition, having your compositional elements in the right spots. There we go. That's a good start. Okay. Now I want to put in I don't have a foreground other than this other skid on the front of the escape pod. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to put some tall grass in front. Let's take out the pencil line so we can see, we get a sense of what we're looking at. There's the background, right? In the distance, maybe we see some trees in the background. But we could also do some grass. Now we could even do a fairly extreme foreground. Like we could take her and make her like way up here, like just her head is appearing. And that's a good way to go too. But I think we're going to stick with this small shot, where she's seen full size, because it's also a good idea to do. Oh, that's what the problem is. I didn't have the rusty nib on. Like, why do my plants look so looking dull? It's a good idea to, once a page, have a full size shot head to toe of the main character. It's just a good policy. You can see plenty of comics where they just do the headshots, headshot, talking heads. That is not ideal. That's not what people want to see. And conversely, in the Golden Age, where they didn't have as much of a tradition of movies and television like we do today, you would see the standard shot being a head to toe shot. It would be just like this. You would see the whole thing. Because most people, like, their reference was plays more than, and older movies. You didn't see a lot of the close up interactions that we've kind of learned to appreciate through the medium of daytime television. And that's not my analysis, by the way. That's Gil Kane saying that. Gil Kane was, it's an interesting cat, because a lot of these old time artists, like, what was Gil Kane into? Well, he wasn't into sports. This is the guy who was the guy who drew a lot of action. He was into dance. He was into like going to the ballet. Like that was considered like in the 40s and 50s and even onto the 60s, kind of sign of culture. Of course, it kind of became modern dance, and now it is what it is, right? It's funny. My back when I was married, my ex's aunt, so I guess that would be my aunt-in-law. I don't know how it works. Um, had this degree from Berkeley in modern dance, and whoops, what do you use that for? Well, it turns out nothing. I don't use a degree like that or anything. She wasn't involved in that for her work or anything. There's a tree branch, tree root. Another trick we can do is we want to go darker and bolder the closer we are to the camera, which is the front right up here, our viewpoint. So I have this tones layer, and these are my 10. These are the tones I'm using for this. I'm only using the slantways tone, and I'm going to use it all over this one, especially, and also underneath. And don't worry too much that we've got it overlapping. We've gone outside the lines because we can just color it because it's on its own layer. We can just chop off anything that doesn't look like it works. That's like that kind of works. This is kind of not working. I could even do this grass over here. And whatever pattern you end up with, like you could have done, I could have done um, halftone dots, which are, I call Ben-Day dots. Why is it blue over there? Looking at it's the camera doing that. There's a number of things. We can also do shadows. Let's say we want to do a shadow underneath the whole pod. Maybe she's in shadow. That is a possibility as well. I'm gonna break it up a little bit like over there. All right, well let's also get back to our rusty nib and the ink layer. The damsels all have wings. And they're semi-translucent. Oh, not bad. Of course, perspective isn't just drawing angled lines. Perspective at its core just means things that are further away are smaller. So here I am drawing vegetation, and I'm just kind of making my line weight is thin. It's kind of a scribbly, we might even call it a scumbling line. You know what scumbling is? And the lines or the texture lines get smaller and smaller the further away you get. But I think this sequence works between these two. And let me just bring in my pencil layers. I think we can almost get to this one. Now this is the pod that gets thrown out here, but I had another idea for a line here. So he says this model, where is it? This model is equipped with an auto valet. It's a bit obsolete, and this is a one-way pod. You can keep it. All right, so let's make this, oops, Select all. I want it to be 12-point type. Okay. This can be here, this can be there. And then our pod has to be down here. Make it a bit smaller. Splunt, and we're going to see it's like the escape pod just kind of tosses it out. And I know I just have a few minutes left, but I'm going to show you the important parts of the pod are this area right here, and it's kind of mirrored here. This part is important because this, when we get to drawing our character, Synatar, that's his chest plate right here. He comes out of the pod. He's at your service. He starts out as sort of like a butler or a valet, but we'll find out more about him as the character develops in the story. Also, the chest plate part is meant to be a different color than the rest of them. Now, I'm not doing this particular comic in color, so we got to figure out another way to show that it's a different color. I think the way to show it is to do it in the tones that we just showed you. Same ones, the diagonal ones. So let's do that real quick. Doesn't take very long. I'm going to put it in 30% tones, which is a little darker. And then we'll see how it looks. Once you have the differentiation in the tones, so here's the 10% tone. We could use the 10% tone for shadow, and then the 30% tone for color, and and it should kind of work. And I can go all the way up to 90% tones, which is almost black. But for now, let's leave it out and just do the drawing part. Where am I? Rusty nib. If you're new, and I've got a couple of new subscribers, welcome. This is probably this may be the last video you watch of mine. So I do sketchbooks tours as they get completed. I do sketchbooks all the time. You may have joined me just for the sketchbook tours. I just did one this weekend. I also do comics, and the comics are every day, like every single day. So if you're not into watching that, that's fine. I totally understand. Seeing how a comic gets developed. I think what I'm going to do, I've only got, this is page 8 out of 19, or out of a proposed 19. Might go less. We'll see. It cannot go over 19. It could go 18 really easily, though. Splunk. All right, that's gonna look okay. There's some cross hatching even. Let's throw in the bubbles. After this comic, we're going to do a daily strip. We're going to develop all the characters. And I'm going to try and do... I got to think realistically or somewhat conservatively. You know, you can't just do it forever. You know, I'm not Charles Schultz, obviously. But I could do, I don't know, 25 strips, something like that, as a starter. Ed Pescor is doing his, and he wanted to get 100 strips, but he's a pro. 100 is before he launches, which seems really cool. All right, let's see if we can get the white in there. It did break. You see where my problem is? Right up here. Okay. Now then, let's take the pencil layer back out. Not much going on this panel. I could do more background on it. We could also just remove the panel border and leave it completely open. I think we need to do the leave it in a mud puddle. I had a notion of putting her feet down here so we could see, you know, how big is it. But I think I'm going to leave that kind of undefined, because in the transforming sequence down below, it starts small and it gets bigger, as you can see, as it flips over and it becomes Synatar, this character. So I've got to come up with some kind of background. In this case, it's just some trees. You don't have to go too far with it. And then, now why is it doing that? It's because I've been drawing in the bubbles layer. Whoops, let's fix that. It's a good idea to keep your layers separate. So I'm going to fix that, and that'll be it for today for this video. Thanks so much. Please like, follow, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Give me a thumbs up. Helps the algorithm show this video to more people. Which I would like you to do. Like-minded individuals who want to see comics getting drawn. I'm going to take all the stuff that's in the bubbles layer that is not the bubbles. Cut and paste. And we're going to put it, whoops, right down. Let's move it. Nope. Move tones. So this is all this stuff. We're going to move it right into the ink layer. There we go. And there it is without pencils. Looking pretty good. I do think we could get away with some more tones here. Something like that. All right. See you next time.